The stars twinkled peacefully in the vast darkness of space as Earth's first faster-than-light ship, the Explorer 1, glided through the void. Captain Robert Miller stood on the bridge, his weathered face reflecting the soft glow of the control panels. After 6 months of successful test flights within the solar system, they had finally ventured beyond humanity's cosmic backyard. "Sir, unknown vessel approaching at high speed," reported Lisa from her sensor station. Her voice remained steady, but her fingers tightened around the edge of her console. Miller straightened his uniform. This was the moment humanity had prepared for. First contact with alien life. All stations, remain calm. Follow first contact protocols. The approaching ship was beautiful in a terrifying way. Its silver hull gleamed like polished mercury, stretching nearly a kilometer in length. Compared to the Explorer 1's modest 200 meters, it was a giant meeting a child. A communication request flashed on the main screen. Miller took a deep breath and nodded to his communications officer. "Accept the transmission." The screen lit up with the image of a humanoid figure. It looked almost human, except for the slight purple tint to its skin and the extremely angular features of its face. The alien wore an ornate uniform covered in what appeared to be military decorations. "This is Imperial Commander Marcus of the Galactic Empire's 7th Scout Fleet." The alien spoke in perfect English, surprising everyone on the bridge. "Our universal translators have analyzed your primitive communication systems. Who are you to venture into Imperial space?" Miller stepped forward. "I am Captain Robert Miller of the Earth vessel Explorer 1. We come in peace, seeking peaceful contact with other civilizations." Commander Marcus's laugh echoed through the bridge. "Earth? Ah yes, that backwater planet that just discovered FTL travel. How quaint." His voice dripped with condescension. Before Miller could respond, another ship emerged from FTL travel. Ambassador James Walker's diplomatic vessel had arrived as planned. The sleek diplomatic ship took position alongside Explorer 1. "Commander Marcus," Walker's diplomatic channel opened. "I am Earth's Ambassador James Walker. We request a formal meeting to establish peaceful relations with the Galactic Empire." Marcus's lips curled into a smirk. "Very well. Dock with our vessel. Let us see what Earth's finest have to offer." The docking procedure took 30 minutes. Walker led his diplomatic team through the airlock, accompanied by Captain Miller and 2 senior officers. They walked through corridors that made Earth's most advanced technology look like children's toys. The Imperial Reception Hall was massive, with ceiling-high windows showing the endless expanse of space. Dozens of alien species stood in attendance, all wearing the same Imperial uniforms. Ambassador Walker approached Commander Marcus with a dignified bow and presented an ornate box. "A gift from Earth," Walker said, opening the box to reveal a beautiful crystal sphere containing a perfect miniature of Earth's solar system. It was humanity's finest achievement in art and technology combined. Marcus picked up the sphere with 2 fingers, as if handling garbage. How primitive. He deliberately let it slip from his fingers. The crystal sphere shattered on the polished floor, the pieces scattering like broken dreams. Gasps echoed through the hall, followed by mocking laughter from the Imperial officers. Walker's face remained diplomatic, but his hands trembled slightly. "Let me be clear," Marcus announced, his voice echoing through the hall. "Earth has 2 choices. Submit to Imperial rule willingly, becoming our mining colony, or..." He left the threat hanging. Miller stepped forward, his voice tight with controlled anger. "We will take your message back to Earth's leaders." "Do that," Marcus waved dismissively. "You have 1 Earth month to decide. Don't make us choose for you." The journey back to their ships was silent. As they undocked, Miller looked at Walker. "What now, Ambassador?" Walker stared at the massive Imperial vessel through the viewport. "Now, Captain, we prepare. They think they've seen all of humanity's capabilities." A small, grim smile crossed his face. "They haven't seen anything yet. In the darkness of space, Earth's ships turned homeward, carrying news that would change humanity's future forever. Behind them, Commander Marcus watched them go, unaware that he had just made the biggest mistake in Imperial history. Deep within Mount Cheyenne, 3 miles beneath the Earth's surface, the world's most powerful military leaders gathered in a room that officially didn't exist. The stone walls vibrated slightly from the massive machines working in nearby chambers. Admiral Thomas stood before the assembled group, his gray hair catching the light from the holographic display behind him. On the screen, images of the Imperial ships loomed large. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his deep voice filling the room. "What happened yesterday was exactly what we've prepared for during the last 30 years. He pressed a button, and the image changed to show a massive hangar built inside the moon. General Williams leaned forward. "Is it ready?" "Project Nemesis," Admiral Thomas smiled, "is more than ready." "Captain Stone." He gestured to a woman sitting quietly in the corner. Captain Anna Stone stood up. She wore a simple black uniform with no markings or rank insignia. Her short brown hair and ordinary looks made her easy to forget in a crowd, exactly what the project needed. 25 years ago, she said, walking to the front, a small alien scout ship crashed in the Arizona desert. 10 years later, another one went down in the Russian tundra. We recovered both. While the world's attention was on our public space program, we were learning. The hologram changed to show a massive warship. Its dark hull seemed to swallow light, its shape unlike anything humanity had publicly built. The Nemesis, Stone continued, combines what we learned from those crashes with humanity's best innovations. Our quantum shields can absorb energy weapons. Our phase shift drive makes us nearly impossible to track. And our weapons. She paused, allowing herself a small smile. Let's just say the Empire isn't the only one with surprises. How did you keep this hidden? Asked the Chinese admiral, his eyes fixed on the ship's specifications scrolling across the screen. The same way we kept the Manhattan Project hidden, Admiral Thomas replied. We split the work across hundreds of locations. Nobody except those in this room knows the full picture. A lieutenant burst into the room, face flushed with urgency. Sirs, the Imperial fleet. They're broadcasting across all channels. The hologram switched to show Commander Marcus's sneering face. People of Earth, your pathetic attempts at diplomacy have amused us enough. We have decided not to wait for your answer. The Imperial fleet will arrive in 3 days. Prepare for your new reality as servants of the Empire. The room erupted in angry murmurs. Admiral Thomas raised his hand for silence. Captain Stone, he said quietly, how long to bring Nemesis online? 6 hours to power up, 12 to load supplies and crew. She stood straighter. We'll be ready in 18 hours. The crew, General Williams asked. 200 of Earth's finest, Stone answered. They've trained for 5 years in secret. They think they're part of a classified defense program, which is true. They just don't know how classified. Admiral Thomas walked to the central table. The Empire expects to find a primitive planet, scrambling to mount a defense. Instead, they'll find humanity's sword, 30 years in the making. And the public? Someone asked. The panic when they see the Imperial fleet. Let them come, Thomas said grimly. Let them bring their fleet. Let them think we're helpless. He looked around the room. Because when Nemesis rises, the galaxy will learn why humanity survived every disaster nature threw at us. Captain Stone nodded to her commanding officer and headed for the door. She had a ship to wake up. Behind her, she heard Admiral Thomas's final words to the assembly. For 30 years, we hoped we were being paranoid. For 30 years, we prepared for the worst. Now, the worst has come, and we are ready. In the depths of the lunar night, in a hangar carved from the moon's heart, something massive began to stir. Power flowed through circuits that had waited years to be used. Weapons tested in secret hummed to life. The Empire was coming. But humanity's greatest secret was about to be revealed. The sky above Earth turned into a light show as 50 Imperial warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Their massive hulls blocked out the stars, casting shadows over major cities even in broad daylight. People stood in streets across the world, faces turned upward in a mixture of fear and awe. Commander Marcus's image appeared on every screen on Earth. Televisions, phones, computers, and even electronic billboards. His purple-tinted face wore a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Primitives of Earth," he began, his voice echoing through the streets of every city. "Your time of independence has ended. The might of the Imperial fleet now fills your skies. Observe closely. Each of these ships could turn your largest city into ash within minutes." In New York, a mother pulled her children closer. In Tokyo, businessmen stopped in the middle of the street, their faces pale. In London, crowds gathered in parks, watching the ships through binoculars. "Your choices are simple," Marcus continued. "Surrender now and become a productive part of the Empire. Resist." He paused as one of his ships fired a beam of energy into the Atlantic Ocean. The water exploded into steam, creating a massive cloud visible from space. Well, you can imagine. Deep beneath Mount Cheyenne, Admiral Thomas watched the transmission with his command staff. His face remained calm, but his knuckles were white as he gripped the edge of his chair. "Sir," a young officer reported, "public panic is spreading. Riots have broken out in 12 major cities. The stock market has crashed. People are trying to flee the metropolitan areas." Thomas pressed a button on his console. "Captain Stone, status report. Nemesis is ready, Admiral." Stone's voice came through clearly. "We're in position behind the moon. The Empire's sensors haven't detected us. They're too busy putting on their show." "Very good." Thomas looked at the world leaders gathered on various screens around him. "Ladies and gentlemen, the moment of decision has come." The President of the United States, her face grim, spoke first. "We can't let them see our fear. Admiral, you have full authorization." Other world leaders nodded in agreement. The Chinese president spoke next. "We did not come this far as a species to become slaves." Above Earth, Commander Marcus waited, enjoying the panic he could see spreading across the planet. His sensors showed masses of people fleeing cities, militaries scrambling their primitive aircraft, and chaos growing by the minute. "Commander," one of his officers called out, "we're receiving a transmission from their leaders." "Put it on screen," Marcus said lazily. "Let's hear their surrender." Instead of a surrender, he saw Admiral Thomas's face. The old man's expression was calm, almost serene. "Commander Marcus," Thomas spoke clearly, "humanity rejects your ultimatum." Marcus laughed so hard he had to wipe his eyes. "You reject? You reject." He turned to his bridge crew. "Do you hear this? They reject us." His crew joined in the laughter. "Yes, we reject," Thomas continued as if there had been no interruption. "And now, Commander, you will learn why humanity has survived every disaster that ever threatened us, why we rose from caves to touch the stars, why we never, ever, accept tyranny." Marcus leaned forward, his amusement turning to anger. "You dare to lecture me? Your species is barely out of its cradle. Your technology is centuries behind ours. What possible?" "Captain Stone," Thomas cut him off, "you may proceed." The transmission ended. Marcus stared at the blank screen, his face twisted with rage. How dare they? How dare? He stopped as his tactical officer suddenly shouted, "Commander, massive energy signature detected behind the moon. Something's coming." In the darkness of lunar orbit, humanity's secret weapon emerged into the light. The time for hiding was over. The real war was about to begin. The Nemesis emerged from behind the moon like a predator stepping out of shadow. Its black hull stretched nearly 2 kilometers in length, dwarfing even the largest Imperial ships. Unlike the smooth, silvery Imperial vessels, Nemesis was all sharp angles and threatening edges, its surface seeming to drink in the light of nearby stars. On the Imperial flagship's bridge, Commander Marcus stood frozen, his mouth slightly open. "Impossible," he whispered. "Their technology level. They shouldn't have." "Commander," his sensor officer shouted, "we can't get a lock on the vessel. Our targeting systems are failing." Captain Stone sat calmly in Nemesis's command chair, her hands resting lightly on the armrests. The bridge crew worked with quiet efficiency, each movement practiced through countless secret drills. "All systems operational," reported her first officer. "Quantum shields at full power. Phase shift drive ready. Weapon systems armed." Stone nodded and opened a channel to the Imperial fleet. "This is Captain Anna Stone of the Earth warship Nemesis. Commander Marcus, you have entered Earth's sovereign space with hostile intent. You will withdraw immediately, or we will respond with force." Laughter erupted from the Imperial bridge crew. Marcus stepped forward, regaining his composure. "One ship. You think one ship can stand against 50 Imperial warships? Your arrogance exceeds even my expectations." "Commander," Stone's voice remained steady, "that was your only warning." Marcus's face darkened with rage. "Destroy that human vessel. All ships, open fire." 50 Imperial warships fired their energy weapons simultaneously. The space around Nemesis lit up like a new sun as enough firepower to level a continent converged on a single point. When the light faded, the Nemesis floated unchanged. No damage, no sign of impact. Its quantum shields glowed slightly, having absorbed the massive energy attack. "That's not possible." Marcus stumbled back in his chair. "Our sensors show. They somehow absorbed the energy." Stone allowed herself a small smile. "Now, Commander, let me show you what 30 years of careful preparation looks like. Weapons control, you may begin the demonstration." Nemesis's first shot was almost invisible, a pencil-thin beam of compressed dark energy. It struck one of the Imperial ships, and for a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the ship simply ceased to exist, its matter converted to energy so efficiently that it didn't even explode. Panic erupted across the Imperial fleet. Ships began breaking formation, their crews suddenly realizing they faced something far beyond their experience. "Hold position," Marcus screamed at his fleet. "It's just one ship." "Launch fighters. Surround it." Imperial fighters poured from their carriers by the hundreds. Stone watched them approach on her tactical display. "Time to show them our point defense system," she said quietly. "Execute pattern alpha." Thousands of tiny ports opened across Nemesis's hull. What emerged looked like fireflies, small, glowing points of light. The Imperial fighters met them head-on, expecting easy targets. Instead, each firefly was a nanoscale hunter-killer drone, powered by the same quantum technology as Nemesis's shields. The fighter squadrons vanished in seconds, destroyed not by massive weapons, but by devices smaller than coins. "Quantum shields holding at 97%, reported the defense officer. "Energy reserves actually increasing from absorbed weapon fire." Stone opened the channel again. "Commander Marcus, I'll make this simple. You have 30 seconds to order your fleet to retreat. After that, we will disable every ship in your command." Marcus stared at his tactical display in horror. A third of his fighters gone in seconds. One capital ship destroyed by a weapon he couldn't even understand. And the enemy vessel was actually growing stronger from their attacks. "This is impossible," he repeated. "You're primitives. You're supposed to be primitives." 20 seconds, Commander," Stone's voice replied calmly. "What's it going to be?" Behind her words lay 30 years of human preparation, innovation, and determination. The Empire was about to learn why you should never underestimate humanity. Marcus's 30 seconds passed in tense silence. Then, instead of retreating, the Imperial commander made his choice. "All ships, attack pattern Delta. Surround that vessel. No primitive humans will make fools of the Empire." Captain Stone shook her head slightly. "They always choose the hard way. Helm, execute Battle Plan 3. Weapons, you're free to engage." The Nemesis moved like nothing its size should be able to move. The massive warship spun and twisted, its phase shift drive letting it slide through space in ways that broke the normal rules of physics. Imperial targeting computers couldn't keep up. Their shots passed through empty space where Nemesis had been microseconds before. Status report. Marcus screamed as another of his ships disappeared under Nemesis's weapons. Commander, we've lost 6 ships. Their vessel, it's not just advanced, it's impossible. It's breaking half the laws of physics. On Nemesis's bridge, Stone watched the tactical display with careful attention. Time to show them our main weapon. Power up the gravity lance. Deep within the ship, a weapon built from reverse-engineered alien technology hummed to life. It combined humanity's understanding of gravity manipulation with quantum mechanics, creating something entirely new. Target their flagship's engines, Stone ordered. Let's give them a demonstration they can't ignore. A pulse of concentrated gravitational force shot out from Nemesis. When it hit the Imperial flagship's engines, it created a microscopic black hole that existed for less than a second. That was long enough. The flagship's entire rear section imploded, crushed into a ball of dense matter the size of a baseball. Marcus grabbed his command chair as his ship spun out of control. What did they do to us? 30% of the Imperial fleet has been disabled or destroyed, reported Stone's tactical officer. They're beginning to break formation. Stone opened a channel to all Imperial ships. This is your last chance. Withdraw now or be destroyed. We won't warn you again. 3 Imperial ships took the offer, their engines flaring as they jumped to faster than light speed. But Marcus wasn't done. Cowards. He screamed over the command channel. Reform the line. Launch all remaining fighters. We still outnumber them 30-1. Sir, his second-in-command protested. Their technology is too advanced. We can't. Silence. I won't lose to primitives. Stone watched the Imperial ships regroup. They're preparing for another mass attack. All hands, braced for multiple impacts. Bring quantum shields to maximum. The Imperial fleet fired everything they had. Energy beams, plasma torpedoes, graviton missiles. The space around Nemesis turned into a storm of destructive force. Shields holding, reported the defense officer. Energy absorption at peak efficiency. Our power reserves are now at 150% of normal capacity. Stone nodded. Turn their own energy against them. Power up all weapons with the absorbed energy. Target their command ships first. Nemesis's weapons blazed with the Empire's own stolen energy. Each shot found its mark with perfect accuracy, guided by targeting computers that made Imperial technology look primitive in comparison. From Earth, billions watched through telescopes and video feeds as humanity's secret weapon demolished the galaxy's most powerful fleet. The light show in orbit was visible even in daylight. Commander, Marcus's bridge officer reported, voice shaking, we've lost 25 ships. Our remaining vessels are reporting critical damage to weapons and shields. Marcus stared at the tactical display in shock. His mighty fleet, pride of the Empire, was being taken apart by a single Earth ship. Everything he believed about humanity's technological level had been wrong. How? He whispered. How did they hide this from us? Stone's voice came over the command channel again, calm as ever. Commander, you made a simple mistake. You judged us by what we showed the galaxy. You never stopped to wonder what we might be hiding. The Nemesis powered up its weapons for another volley. The real question now was, would Marcus's pride doom the rest of his fleet? The remains of Imperial ships littered Earth's orbit like broken toys. Commander Marcus stared at his tactical display, watching as more red dots, his ships, winked out one by one. His flagship drifted helplessly, its main engines destroyed by Nemesis's gravity weapon. Status report, he demanded, his voice hoarse from shouting orders. Sir, we've lost 38 ships. 7 have retreated. The remaining 5 are heavily damaged. His tactical officer's voice trembled. Our weapons have no effect on their shields. They're just toying with us now. On Nemesis's bridge, Captain Stone studied the battlefield with careful attention. The quantum shields hummed quietly, still charged with absorbed energy from the Imperial attacks. "Captain," her first officer reported, "we're detecting escape pod launches from several Imperial vessels. Their crews are abandoning ship." Stone nodded. "Begin rescue operations. Launch the recovery drones. No one dies if we can help it." Small, sleek drones shot out from Nemesis's hull, racing toward the floating escape pods. Each drone could create a protective bubble around a pod, ensuring the safety of those inside. Marcus watched in disbelief as the Earth ship began rescuing Imperial crews. "They're saving our people." "After what we—" He couldn't finish the sentence. "Commander," his communications officer called out, "Captain Stone is hailing us again." Stone's image appeared on their cracked main screen. "Commander Marcus, the battle is over. Your fleet is destroyed or scattered. Surrender your remaining ships, and we will ensure the safety of all your crew members." Marcus slumped in his chair. Everything he believed about humanity had been wrong. They weren't primitives playing at space travel. They were warriors who had hidden their true strength, waiting for the right moment. "Why?" he asked. "Why save our crews after we threatened your world?" "Because that's what humans do," Stone replied simply. "We fight when we must, but we show mercy when we can. It's not weakness, Commander. It's strength." Across Earth's orbit, Nemesis's rescue drones gathered escape pods, creating a safe zone far from the battle area. The ship's medical bay prepared to receive injured Imperial crew members. "Sir," Marcus's second-in-command stepped forward. "We should accept their offer. We've lost. Continuing would only cost more lives." Marcus looked at his broken fleet one last time. Decades of Imperial pride and arrogance had led to this moment. They had thought themselves invincible, only to be humbled by the very primitives they had mocked. "Captain Stone," he straightened in his chair, finding one last shred of dignity. "I, Commander Marcus of the Imperial fleet, formally surrender my remaining ships to Earth's forces." Stone's expression remained professional. "Surrender accepted. Prepare your crew for evacuation. Medical teams are standing by." As escape pods launched from his flagship, Marcus watched the Nemesis up close for the first time. Its dark hull seemed to absorb both light and hope from the Empire's dreams of easy conquest. In the Lunar Orbit Command Center, Admiral Thomas watched the final moments of the battle. "Captain Stone, excellent work. The President wants to speak with you." "Thank you, Admiral," Stone replied. "But first, let's make sure all Imperial survivors are safe. We should show the galaxy not just our strength, but our humanity." The rescue operation continued for hours. Earth's secret weapon, designed for war, proved equally capable of mercy. News of the battle spread across the galaxy at faster-than-light speed, not just of humanity's victory, but of how they had won it. And in his escape pod, waiting for rescue, Commander Marcus finally understood. Humanity hadn't just defeated the Imperial fleet. They had shown the galaxy a better way. 1 month after the Battle of Earth, the news had spread to every corner of the galaxy. In bars and spaceports across hundreds of worlds, people watched recordings of how a single Earth ship had defeated 50 Imperial warships. But what caught everyone's attention wasn't just the victory. It was what happened afterward. They saved the Imperial crews. A rebel leader whispered in a secret meeting on a distant mining colony. They had every right to let them die, but they saved them. The Imperial palace on the capital world was in chaos. The Emperor himself had watched the battle recordings a dozen times, his face growing darker with each viewing. "How did we not know?" he demanded of his advisors. "How did they hide such technology from us?" Nobody had an answer. The Empire's best intelligence agencies had completely misjudged Earth's capabilities. Worse, stories were spreading about how the humans had treated their prisoners. In a military hospital on Earth, Commander Marcus sat by a window, watching the sunset. His injuries from the battle had been treated with advanced medical technology that once again the Empire had not known Earth possessed. A nurse brought him a tablet showing news from across the galaxy. 3 more worlds had declared independence from the Empire this week. The recordings of Nemesis's victory had given hope to countless oppressed species. "Your people are full of surprises," Marcus said to the nurse. "We thought we knew everything about Earth." The nurse smiled. "Sometimes the best defense is letting others underestimate you." In orbit, the Nemesis had become a symbol. Ships from dozens of worlds came to see it, keeping their distance as required by Earth's new defense protocols. Its dark hull still inspired awe, but now there was respect instead of fear. On the ship's bridge, Captain Stone read the latest reports. 17 Imperial colonies had requested Earth's protection. The Empire's grip on the galaxy was weakening by the day. "Captain," her first officer called out, "the diplomatic team is ready for the announcement." Stone nodded and made her way to the conference room. Representatives from 30 independent worlds waited there, along with Admiral Thomas and Earth's political leaders. "Ladies, gentlemen, and honored representatives," Thomas began, "today we announce the formation of the Galactic Defense Alliance. Earth will share some of its defensive technologies with worlds that pledge to use them only for protection, never conquest." A murmur of excitement ran through the alien delegates. The Empire had hoarded technology, using it to maintain control. Earth was offering to share it, asking only peace in return. On Earth itself, changes were everywhere. Imperial technology freely shared by grateful prisoners had improved daily life in countless ways. Hospitals used advanced healing techniques. Clean energy-powered cities. Food production had doubled. In his office deep under Mount Cheyenne, Admiral Thomas looked at a message from the Emperor himself. The Empire formally recognized Earth's independence and requested diplomatic relations as equals. 30 years of preparation, Thomas said to the empty room. 30 years of hiding our true strength. And in the end, it wasn't just the weapons that won. It was our humanity. The Nemesis began a slow patrol of Earth's solar system, its quantum shields glowing softly in the starlight. In its wake, a new age was dawning. The galaxy was learning that true strength came not from conquest, but from compassion. Not from domination, but from defense. Not from fear, but from hope. And on 100 worlds, people looked up at the stars and whispered a new truth. Never underestimate Earth. They may hide their strength, but when pushed, they will show you not just their power, but their wisdom. Not just their technology, but their mercy. The Empire had mocked Earth, thinking it primitive. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant, one that would reshape the galaxy not through conquest, but through cooperation. A new dawn had truly begun.